Welcome to the Grim Report, your gateway to the world of the strange and unexplained. I'm your host, Sydney Vale, and every week we dive deep into the eerie, the mysterious, and the downright chilling. Haunted by the shadows, a battle to protect my dog from the unseen. I've experienced weird things for as long as I can remember, starting with vivid night terrors when I was a child. My dad's side of the family has history of being sensitive to the supernatural, so this sort of stuff was never really out of the ordinary for me. Over the years, I've felt the presence of a specific visitor who sits on the edge of my bed occasionally. You know the feeling when the bed dips under someone's weight, even though no one's there? I can always hear the receding footsteps when they leave. This has been happening since I was around 3 years old. My husband has similar sensitivities. He's had experiences too with his dad's side of the family. We lived together in a small house that was built in the 1930s, along with our 2 dogs. Since we moved in a decade ago, the activity in the house was definitely ramped up. It started with that unsettling feeling of being watched from the dark corners and doorways. Then it escalated. Footsteps, low murmuring voices, cabinet doors opening, lights flickering on and off by themselves. The worst is hearing a cat growling, even though we don't have a cat. Our dogs act strange, growling at nothing or refusing to enter certain rooms. There's more. Things move on their own. Objects we know for sure were locked away, turned up somewhere else. Doors that were closed suddenly stand open. We both seen shadow figures, and strangely enough, what we call the ghost dog. It looks like our small dogs, but floats about a foot off the ground, darting away as soon as we notice it. My husband always scolds it in the name of Jesus when things get too intense, and it seems to work for a while. But the activity always returns. It dies down for months at a time, but then something always stirs it back up. Just a few weeks ago, we had some stuff fly off the bathroom shelf. A bottle of peroxide tipped over without anyone touching it. Usual things for us at this point. Sounds, footsteps. But what happened last night went too far. My dog is my world. She was fine when I put her in her crate for bed, acting completely normal. But just as I laid her down, she let out a sharp, high-pitched scream, the kind of scream she only makes when she's in pain. My husband got up to check, and he said she was just staring in a corner, but nothing else seemed wrong. 30 seconds later, she screamed again. Twice. I knew something was off, so I bolted to her. When I got her out of the crate, she leapt into my arms, trembling uncontrollably. Her fur was standing on end, and she was growling and showing her teeth, clearly terrified of something that was in that same corner. She even wet herself a little, something she has never done before. It was like she was both furious and scared out of her mind. I brought her to bed with us, terrified that something would hurt her. She refused to calm down, sitting on the bed and growling in the doorway, hair still standing up. Eventually, I got her under the blankets, but it took about a half hour for her to settle. Today, she's acting like her usual self, but I'm shaken. I've never seen her like that in all the years I've had her. If something tried to harm her, it's gone way too far. I don't want to live in constant fear for her or feel like I can't take my eyes off her. We believe in demons, and I'm starting to think whatever this is, it's malevolent. Haunted in the wilderness, our terrifying encounter with a killer. The scariest night of my life was when my husband and I went camping off-season and nearly escaped being hunted by a psychopath. It all started with a car accident. While getting ready for bed in our tent, we heard a horrific crash. The campsite was off a dangerous, winding road, so we instantly knew it was bad and ran towards the sound. We got there just as the police did, gave them our information, and headed back to camp. I was pregnant at the time. After all that adrenaline, I really needed to pee. The only restroom open was a little past our campsite in complete darkness. There were no other campers around. After using the bathroom, I walked back to my husband, but something caught my eye. Behind him, a flashlight was bouncing up and down, moving fast towards us. I joked about the guy really needing the restroom, but that joke quickly died. The man stopped right in front of us and whispered, "Wow, you guys are fast," with the most unsettling smile I have ever seen. My stomach dropped. My heart pounded in my ears, and a wave of nausea hit me. My husband didn't seem to notice anything wrong, though, and casually mentioned that we were just checking on the accident. The man continued, as if making small talk, saying he was used to that kind of stuff, and asking if we were leaving tomorrow. I felt a chill crawl up my spine. Used to what? I wanted to ask, but before I could, he shrugged it off, claiming he traveled a lot and camped often. I had already started inching backwards, and that's when my husband noticed something was off with me. I lied, blurting out that the police were coming to take our statements back at the tent, hoping it would end the conversation. My husband backed me up, and we started to leave, but the man didn't stop. He matched our steps, moving forward as we moved backward, telling us about a beautiful walk he took that morning, where he heard a growl. He ended the story with, "You never know which day is going to be your last." That's when I noticed he had been fiddling with something in his hoodie pocket the whole time. He had a knife. Pure terror hit me, and I screamed, "Run!" My husband grabbed my hand and we took off, running for our lives. As we fled, I told my husband about the flowers not growling and sobbing in panic. The flashlight never let us. It beamed, bouncing up and down, flashing erratically, and we could hear the man chasing us. We cut through the woods, knowing he was gaining on us fast, and he headed back towards the police at the accident site. Looking back, we saw him standing at the edge of the road, where we would have come out if we had taken the direct path. His disappointed expression told us everything. We had made the right choice by avoiding the road. After we reported the encounter to the police, they searched the area but never found him. For years we followed up, but nothing. Then a couple years later, I posted the story on TikTok, and it went viral. The next day, someone who lived nearby shared an article. They had found him. 2 weeks after our encounter, he killed a man and stabbed a woman at nearby campsite. She survived by playing dead, but he had finally done what we feared he would. Finding that out sent me into a spiral. The relief of closure mixed with the crushing guilt that he had gone to kill someone after we encountered him. It's something that still haunts me. Camping, something we once loved, is ruined for me. Shadow of Evil, my encounter with the dark entity. I have never shared this before, but for some reason it feels like the right time. A few years ago, I had an experience that still chills me to the core. Something I have never been able to rationalize or forget. At the time, I was 22, addicted to drugs, and in a toxic relationship with my ex. He wasn't a good person. Neither was his family. Dysfunctional doesn't even begin to describe it. His father had passed away a year before we got together. He had been a pastor, but disturbingly, was also a monster. He did things to his children no parent should ever think of about doing. He died in the same house where those horrors took place, leaving behind a suffocated atmosphere. To add to the darkness, my ex-sister had been heavily involved in satanic rituals with her ex. She had sacrificed animals, goats, chickens, cats, right inside the house. I wasn't there when any of that happened, but the mere knowledge of it was horrifying. One day, we were all talking about paranormal experiences. As I walked into the house, I casually mentioned, "I've never had anything like that happen to me." Well, I guess whatever was lurking there decided to take that as a challenge. Later, I went to take a shower. While I was in there, I saw a shadow, clear as day, moving as if someone had just walked into the bathroom. Naturally, I assumed it was my ex, but when I peeked out, no one was there. That was strange. I brushed it off, thinking my mind was playing tricks on me. Then, out of nowhere, my purse threw off the counter and hit the side of the shower. That was the first real moment of fear. As I stood there, confused and unsettled, a loud bang echoed through the bathroom. My ex's mom kept 2 crosses in there, one on the sink and another on the back of the toilet. The toilet and counter were just inches apart. Somehow, both crosses had fallen, and to my horror, they had got tangled together and flipped upside down, wedged between the toilet and sink. I was so freaked out that I ran out of there, completely naked and terrified. Embarrassing, yes, but fear like that strips away all dignity. That night, things got worse. I went to bed, still shaken, and woke up with sleep paralysis. I have never experienced it before. I couldn't move. Something heavy was pressing down on me, choking me. It felt so dark, so evil. I've never felt anything like that since. It wasn't just physical. It was like the very essence of the thing was pure malevolence. Even now, I can't explain what happened. I keep trying to rationalize it, to chalk it up to a string of coincidences. Or maybe just the energy of that house. Was it something demonic? Or was it the evil spirit of his father, who had been a monster his entire life? I'll never know for sure. But I can't shake the feeling that something dark was trying to make itself known. Something that thrived in the chaos and the horror of that house. I don't often talk about it because I'm afraid of drawing that energy back into my life. But I can't ignore how real and terrifying it was. To this day, it's one of the scariest experiences of my life. Whispers from the Attic. A diary uncovers a forgotten nightmare. I feel like I'm losing my mind, and I need to tell someone. It all started a week ago when I found my old diary from when I was 10. I hadn't thought about it in years, but there it was, tucked away in a dusty box in my attic while I was clearing out things for a garage sale. At first I was excited, a glimpse into my childhood. I started flipping through the pages, reminiscing about 5th grade drama, crushes, and random notes about my day. But then, I came across something that stopped me cold. It was an entry from March 16th, 2011, just a day after my 11th birthday. The beginning was normal, talking about my birthday party and the gifts I got, but then the tone shifted. I had written, "Mom says I shouldn't go into the attic anymore. She says it's not safe, but I keep hearing the whispers up there. Last night, they called my name." I froze. I didn't remember anything like that happening, but the handwriting was undeniably mine. After that bizarre entry, the diary went back to regular stuff, school, friends, typical kid things. I tried to brush it off as some long-forgotten childhood imagination, But then things started happening around the house. Small at first. I'd hear creaks coming from the attic late at night. At first, I thought it was just the house settling. Then came the footsteps. Slow, deliberate. 2 nights ago, it got worse. I woke up around 2 a.m. to the sound of something moving upstairs. Not just footsteps this time, but a dragging noise, like something heavy being pulled across the attic floor. My heart was racing, but I forced myself to go check it out. As soon as I opened the attic door, the dragging stopped. The air felt thick, suffocating, like someone was watching me from the shadows. I couldn't shake the feeling, so yesterday I decided to dig further into the diary. That's when I found another entry, one I definitely don't remember writing. He's in the attic again. He wants me to come back. He says he's lonely, but I don't want to go up there anymore. Mom says it's dangerous, but he keeps calling my name. He knows I'm scared. My mom never said anything about the attic being dangerous. In fact, we rarely even used it when I was a kid. So where did this come from? And who the hell is he? Last night, it escalated. I woke up not to creaks or footsteps this time, but whispers. Actual whispers. I swear I heard my name. I grabbed a flashlight and crept up to the attic again. But just like before, it was empty. The air was thick, still, and oppressive. I don't know what to do. Part of me wants to burn the diary, get rid of whatever this is. But something's stopping me. I keep thinking maybe the answers are in the pages I haven't read yet. But I'm also so terrified of what I might find. Is it possible that something from my childhood is still lurking up there? Or am I just losing my grip on reality?
Whispers in the dark corners of my mind. Shadow stands where light can't seem to find. I hear footsteps but nobody's there. Cold chills creeping